Hello everyone, welcome. My name is MJ Pestridge. Welcome to another P3D video. Today we're talking all about stutters. What are the possible causes of stutters? I've got 10 possible causes of why your CPU or your simulator is stuttering, and we're going to go through a whole bag of fixes and possible outcomes that could resolve your issue. And it starts right now.
Right now, 2586.
Don't you just hate it when you're in the sim and everything's good and you've either been doing it for like a year or for a month or for even a few days, and then suddenly you enter Stutterville and it's and no matter what you do when you're panning your camera, mate, it's just stuttery all of the time. Or it could even be repetitive stutter that comes at certain points or every minute, or who knows. It's an immersion kill. It really is. Really is a ball ache, to be honest. So let's run in no particular order. I've got 10 possible causes of what could be causing your stutters. This will help you troubleshoot it in the future or even avoid it. Okay, so real quick run through, and then afterwards we're going to go through a lot of the fixes that can resolve your stutters. Okay, so number one, it could be that your P3D menu settings are incorrectly set. We'll go through that in a bit. Number two, it could be that your hardware isn't adequate, your CPU, your GPU, your memory, or it could be that there is an internal error with them, Number three, CPU overclocking. Very touchy subject. I probably don't recommend it in the long run because it shortens the life of your CPU, but it could be if you have your CPU overclocked, it could induce stutters, and I'll explain more later. Number four, it could be your graphics card and your monitor combined. There is a fluid special chemistry between your graphics card and your monitor with your simulator. It's kind of like a magic triangle, and I'll get into that of what that is in a bit. Number five, it literally could be the add-ons in your simulator that are causing these stutters. It could be an airport, a scenery, it could be the weather program, it could be anything, but it could be an add-on within your scenery, in your sim. Number six, it could be even if your Windows operating system has got internal errors. It could be something with your operating system that is causing these stutters and nothing to do with anything else. Number seven, it could be your processes within Windows 10 or within your Windows application. It could be certain processes that are running during your simulator and causing these stutters. Number eight, it could even be a Windows program itself, or maybe some real-time scanning that's taken place, like virus software, or even internal processes that, to be honest, you could live without. That could be causing these stutters. Number nine, it could even be your power plan that you've actually activated for Windows. Is it the correct one, and is it right, and has it been configured correctly in terms of optimizing your Windows backend as well? They could also be causing you stutters. There's so many options in Windows 10, the latest build, that could actually be inducing your stutters. And number 10, it could even be the Windows security that comes with the PC. Windows Defender, the virus real-time scanning, plus a myriad of other security features designed to protect your system, but actually bottlenecks your flight simulator. So there's like a run through of 10 possible reasons why you've got stutters. So we're going to go through each one really quick. There's links down below to further videos where I talk in more detail about any particular subject here. So go check them out. There's going to be a few, like 4 that pop up at the end of the video. So first step, ensure all your drivers are up to date. Ensure that your program drivers, your hardware drivers, your GPU driver, your motherboard, make sure that you've got the latest version of everything. Secondly, ensure that all your programs on your Windows operating system are also up to date. It could be just as simple as an out-of-date software that is trying to do something in an out-of-date way that is causing your simulator to stutter, or is causing your CPU to run high when your sim is running high, because let's face it, flight simulation takes a lot of CPU processing power. So if there's anything else that's nuking that, it could be that as well. So make sure you're running the latest programs for all your programs on your PC. Thirdly, ensure that Windows itself is up to date, because it could be an old build of Windows that is the reason why you're getting all these stutters. Windows is constantly changing and updating, and programs are updating because of this, and even your simulator is updating to keep up with the Windows 10 installation. And it could be that you've got something out of date, either your Windows or even maybe your simulator is out of date. So ensure that Windows is fully up to date. Fourthly, check your hardware. This is a big one. If you're running a HD drive, you are running a very old style type of hard drive that has an actual platter like a record inside, and it actually has pits of information where a little sort of needle like a record player draws this information from, and it's so easy for that thing to get fragmented over time. So make sure if you're running a HD hard drive, make sure that it is a defragged hard drive and not a fragmented hard drive. It's so easily for a drive to get fragmented. You can easily defrag it. I recommend defrag 6 for that. There's a video down in the description box below. If you're on an SSD drive or even an M2 drive, make sure there's no errors on that drive. If you've got a sector of your drive that is, got an error on it, it could be hard for your simulator, your PC to recall information successfully from that drive. It's so easy to do a scan to check for errors. I'm going to actually put a code down in the description box that you can actually put in. I've done a video on that as well, where you can put into a PowerShell admin rights command prompt, and then you can actually scan your PC for errors, and if there are errors, it will fix it. So it could be errors on your drive, or that your drive needs defragging. Fifthly, make sure you actually aren't running any unnecessary programs. If you've got installed on your PC things that you don't use anymore, then uninstall them. Make sure that your drive, your PC is clean of outdated and old software that could be dragging the rest of the PC behind. Also, make sure when you're running your simulator, make sure that you're not running any programs that don't have anything to do with flight simulation. For instance, if you always run Spotify when you're playing a game but you don't when you're playing flight simulation, well, turn Spotify, just deactivate Spotify and kill the process, because even when it's idle, it could still cycle up to download or update whilst you're flight simming, which could be causing stutters. So basically, exit out of all programs that don't have anything to do with flight simulation. Another possible fix is make sure that your graphics card, your monitor, and your sim are singing the same tune. Your monitor displays a certain refresh rate, which is tied directly to your frame rate count in your sim, that your GPU is also in charge of. So make sure that they're all singing in harmony, because as soon as your frame rate drops down below the refresh rate of your monitor, you actually get stutters, you get lag, or you get screen tearing. And it is so important that the GPU, the monitor, and the simulator are all singing the same tune in terms of your frame rate. And if you have a frame rate that is jumping all over the place, like going up to 50, 70, down to 20, up to 30, it's really going to cause possible stutters in your sim, as opposed to having a locked frame rate set at a particular number. Then your PC CPU doesn't have to constantly keep throttling up to try and maintain this insanely high frame rate count, when it could achieve a much lower one and still be buttery smooth, but then go on to doing other tasks as well. So your graphics card, your monitor, your sim have to be singing the same tune. The next thing is make sure that you've also got a non-errored sim. So it is so easy for P3D version 5 to have errors caused within it, because let's face it, how many CFG files do you have in your sim? There are dozens. Now, there are some main ones like your scenery CFG, your P3D CFG, your add-on CFG, and it's so easy for one of these to become errored and glitchy and corrupt because a certain add-on has saved information into that file incorrectly or in the incorrect format, or just through the way it writes it at the time it became corrupt, not through the fault of the program or the add-on itself, but just because of the process of saving to that file, it could become corrupt. And if you've got a corrupt CFG file, it can cause errors and problems within your sim as well. So one good way to resolve CFG errors is literally to delete them and let the PC rebuild them again, or run a repair on your simulator, and that will also allow you to have a clean CFG file with no errors in it. Another possible fix is planes and airports. You could be running add-ons that are just simply not compatible, that you have you're using outdated FSX or P3D version 4 pieces of airport or airplanes that are just actually not optimized for P3D version 5. If you take out all your add-ons and you're still getting stutters, then at least you know it's not one of those add-ons. But if you take out all your add-ons and your stutters go away, then there is an actual add-on that is causing these stutters. And here's a little secret, guys. When P3D version 5 was first launched, it came with a DirectX 12 engine, and the SDK kit for P3D version 5 changed from 5.0 to 5.1. It was updated with the hotfix to 5.1, and a new SDK kit came along as well. Now, any add-on that was not built with the 5.1 SDK kit isn't compatible with your simulator. It's using outdated assets in its build, it's using outdated techniques in its build, and this is the big rub, guys. 90% of developers out there, maybe 95, in the history of P3D have always just ported up and made small tweaks to make it compatible, rather than rewriting the entire airport or plane in new code specifically designed for that sim. Now, one developer that does actually rewrite the code and make it specific to that platform is PMDG, which is why it takes so long for them to bring a product out, because they're literally rebuilding it from the ground up to make it compatible with the latest version of P3D, as opposed to simply porting it over, which is why so many add-ons became available in version 5 at the launch of P3D version 5, because the developers were just rewriting the installers to point to version 5 rather than version 4 or FSX. Believe it or not, there is a good small handful of add-ons, and I'm not naming developers to shame them, but there are a small handful of add-ons that are from FSX days that haven't had any rework on it, and you're literally putting FSX textures into version 5 without them having to be remade. It's a bit sad, but it's true. And there are very few airports, if any, that are 100% compatible and made for version 5, and that's a sad truth. So it could literally be one of your airports, your planes, that is causing these stutters if you're using outdated airports. So P3D menu settings, if you're having issues within, and you think it's related to your Sims sliders, if you basically go to the menu where it says profile and click on default, use the default profile that came with P3D, it will knock your sliders right down to a very, very low safe level. Run the sim. If you're still getting stutters, you know it's not the sliding settings of your sim, it's something else. You basically need to narrow down the cause of these stutters in order to overcome these stutters. Another fix you could do is your CPU. If you are overclocking your CPU, it's great if you're getting good performance, and you could get performance, like really smooth performance, for over a year and never see a problem. But there's gonna come a point when your CPU's tired and it's had enough, and throttled up to max at all times Nobody can sustain that. Not even Usain Bolt can run top speed for like a marathon race. You know, he's going to tire as well. So at the end of the day, it could be a tired CPU that is causing stutters. And it's happened to me, and it's happened to a lot of people I know. Literally, they've overclocked their CPU. It's been on for a lot longer because of the past year's events. They've been at home a lot more. They've been using their PC every single day, and the CPU has literally just gone tired. And so overclocking your PC really now has no benefit, because it just causes stutters when your CPU gets tired. So try removing your overclock and see what happens to your CPU and to your stutters. Remove the overclock, and maybe if your stutters go away, it's because you are overclocking and nothing else. Another thing is your graphics card and monitor settings. You know, like I said before, your display is set to a certain refresh rate, and if your simulator's frame rate falls below that refresh rate, then there's going to be problems. Now, there are manufacturers who try and trick you. You know, G-Sync, FreeSync, variable refresh rate. It's all a load of baloney. It's all to get you to buy a more expensive monitor that will display higher refresh rates. And guys, it's no benefit to P3D, to flight simulation, because flight sim doesn't use the frame rate the same as a video game. It's a completely different beast. And anybody in the comments who's going, actually it's not, well, you don't clearly understand what a flight simulator and how it processes its frames. You're probably more talking about video games, you know, and that's correct. Video games require high refresh rates, 60 plus. Flight simulation does not need that much. It cannot produce the scenery, the sim objects, the world at higher refresh rates than it can at a lower refresh rate of say 30, which still gives fluid, smooth motion in your sim, does not stutter, but allows you to develop even and bring more scenery to your sim, more detail to your sim, as opposed to running it at say 60 frames and having to tune down your settings. Trust me, it could literally be your graphics card is not correctly set up with your monitor and your sim. I've done a whole video on how you can do that. It's down in the description box below. Talking about Windows errors, there's also a code that you can type into your PC. If you literally go to your start menu down at the bottom here, and you click the search option here and you type in CMD, you can run this as an admin, and all you have to do is type SFC with a space, a / and scan now. And what that's going to do is that's going to run a system scan to see if there's any Windows operating errors in your sim. And if there are, it's going to fix it on its own. Now, another good test of this is that this test should only take 2 minutes on a fast PC good enough for flight simulation. Time this test. If it takes longer than 2 minutes, you've got an error or a bottleneck within your PC, and your PC is not good enough for version 5 flight simulator. Maybe investigate what the bottleneck is, or even simply update your hardware. So it could literally be your Windows operating system has errors within it, either in its software or the hard drive itself could have errors. And I've popped a code down below that you can actually pop in. If you go down to your Windows start menu and you right click and you click on the Windows PowerShell admin, and a blue screen pops up, you can pop the code in here and it will restart your PC and do a drive check for errors. Could take up to an hour, but it will tell you if there's any errors on your drive, whether it's a hard drive, an SSD, whatever, and it will fix those errors, and it could literally alleviate your stutters. Another one could be that you have processes running in the back end of Windows. Now, I've done numerous videos on deleting or stopping or disabling certain processes that you'll never use in flight simulation. I've also done a video on how you can disable a lot of features of Windows that you won't even use, like OneDrive can actually cause stutters in your PC, because it'll save files that you might have even installed into its OneDrive folder by mistake, and it will be storing these things in the cloud, and then your sim will be recalling these informations from the cloud. So if your internet is not good, that could actually cause you stutters. There's a whole host of these back-end settings that you can disable. In fact, the Windows Security Suite as well could be causing your stutters. Windows Defender could be a reason why you got stutters. Whenever I do a flight, I disable Windows Defender. I've got the reg code to activate and deactivate the entire Windows Defender program, and real-time scanning I disable as well, so no scans activate whilst I'm flight simming. That could be a real big problem when you're flight simming. Another problem could be your power plan is not good enough. Even if your PSU isn't powerful enough or too low, it could actually be your power plan settings are very underwhelmed, or overwhelmed in this case, but are very not set right. Making sure you're using the highest for performance power plan is crucial in getting your sim running smooth, or your PC running smooth, so your sim can run smooth. A happy PC and a healthy PC is a healthy sim and a happy sim. And there's loads of videos down below that will help you. Watch them all, go through all the steps, and your stutters will go. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll get all my videos, and there's a link to my Discord where you can chat with me. If you have any issues, I will help you one-on-one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and goodbye.